What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Thursday, August 3rd edition of the MLB Sims video. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. We have a 6-game MLB slate tonight, and we're going to take a look at the MLB Sims tool for DraftKings. Should be pretty interesting. 6 games, you get some more game theory mixed in addition to still having plenty of options to get to. Nice middle ground between those small slates where it's pretty much nothing but game theory and the larger slates where it doesn't really matter much at all. So ownership will matter here, but there are also still plenty of decisions to make. So it should be interesting to see what is showing up. As a reminder, for the purposes of this video, I created 2,000 lineups in Fantasy Cruncher, uploaded them here. I selected to use my own projections, uploaded them here. Chose a 25% to first prize pool because the flagship tournament on DraftKings tonight is a 200K prize pool, 50K to first. So 25% is what we went with there. And then just click simulate. You can use this tool on your own if you would like to. Check out the link below this video, whether you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter. We have monthly and weekly pricing options available. It also does support FanDuel in addition to DraftKings, even though this video is about the DraftKings slate. Other than that, we can jump in and start looking at the top simulated lineups here from the lineups that I entered. Here at the top, we have a 5-man Yankee stack with 2 Cincinnati Reds, Brian Wu and Mitch Keller as the pitchers. Keller is a good pitcher, but only pulling around 15% ownership, give or take, on this slate because you do have Julio Urias for a little bit more facing the A's. You have Shohei Ohtani, who's clearly the number 1 pitcher on the slate. And then Brian Wu, only $7,500. He's been solid overall since coming up from Double-A. He does have major issues with left-handed power. He is getting a substantial park downgrade, so he's risky, but there's not any clear best SP2 on this slate. So getting to Wu is perfectly fine. We have the 5-man Yankee stack. They are not a great offense, but they are in a high upside spot against Christian Javier. Javier's got very good strikeout stuff against righties, but he has given up a lot of power to both sides of the plate. So here we're getting to Gleyber Torres, Anthony Volpe, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Harrison Bader. They are all right-handed. Again, there's a lot of strikeout potential for Javier there, but you don't lose points for strikeouts, and you do get a lot of points for home runs. He gives up a lot of home runs, and Yankee Stadium is very good for power. Then we're getting the 2-man Joey Votto and Spencer Steer against Jameson Taillon. Certainly prefer the lefties from the Reds, and Votto is left-handed. Steer is not, but he still fits into this lineup. And then we have the MD Rodriguez one-off from the Pirates. Next, we have a 5-man Pittsburgh stack, 2-man Yankees stack. Again, tons of home run upside for the Yankees. Decent spot for the Pirates as well. They're getting a nice park upgrade in Milwaukee. They're facing Adrian Hauser, who is not a bad pitcher at limiting runs, limiting power, but he doesn't miss a lot of bats. And so you have cheap power upside from the Pirates in a good hitter's park against the pitcher that doesn't miss a lot of bats. They are one of the best value teams on the slate. So here we're getting to Shohei Ohtani at 11K. We have Jameson Taillon, who has been very good against righties this year, very bad against lefties. But the most important thing is he's only $6,200 on a slate where we do have Ohtani as the clear top pitcher. And we're just hoping to basically get lucky with whatever SP2 we choose. Taillon is a little bit cheaper than most of the other popular options. As far as the Pirates go, we're getting to MD Rodriguez, Brian Hayes, Peguero, Brian Reynolds, and Jack Suwinski. Jack Suwinski in particular, one of my favorite value bats on this slate because he strikes out a lot, but he also has an expected ISO north of 300 against right-handed pitching this year. And as I mentioned before, Hauser doesn't miss a lot of bats. So you're going to let Suwinski put the ball in play. He's typically going to do damage. We have Gleyber Torres and Aaron Judge, 2 of the best power bats in the Yankees lineup. And then a Cody Bellinger one-off in a good spot for the Cubs, taking on Luke Weaver. Really like this lineup a lot. It is a little bit more popular than most of the other lineups up here, which is probably partly why I like it so much. Every player in there looks good to me, but still simulates out as one of the better lineups. Then we get another Yankee stack. Here we have a Chicago Cubs stack, 5-man with 2-man Reds. Not getting a ton of ownership, so it'll be interesting to see who's in this lineup. And you can see right here at the top, JP Sears, very low owned, about a 2% owned pitcher. Brutal matchup against the Dodgers, but he does have strikeout potential, and he is the kind of guy that can help separate a Chicago Cubs stack for you. They are likely to be the highest owned stack on the slate. We're getting to Gomes, Horner, Happ, Suzuki, and Candelario. Good spot against Luke Weaver. Again, these aren't the best Cubs hitters, but Ian Happ's a very good value on this slate in particular. Matt McLain and Encarnacio Strand, both right-handed. Again, we prefer the lefties from the Reds, but still plenty of upside for those 2 right-handed bats. And then an Aaron Judge one-off. Here we get some more different stacks mixed in. Seattle 5-man, Houston 5-man, Cincinnati 5-man, Minnesota. So it's another slate where we're not necessarily seeing one team running away with it at the top. Now we can select the top 150 lineups and see how things are looking exposure-wise. Starting with the stacks, we do have the Cubs as our top stack here. As I mentioned, they are likely to be the highest owned stack. They are first in stack score, or first in top stack percentage as well in our top stacks tool. So not surprising that we're getting there. They have the highest implied run total on the slate against Luke Weaver. Then we're getting the Minnesota, who they do carry substantial pinch hit risk here against Matthew Liberatore. So you do want to be careful exactly how you're getting to them, what hitters you're getting to. But guys like Byron Buxton, if he's in the lineup, Carlos Correa, Ryan Jeffers, if he's in the lineup, you don't really need to worry about them being pinch hit for. It's more so guys like Kyle Farmer, Donovan Solano that aren't always in the lineup. You could easily see them disappear once a right-handed pitcher comes into the game. The Twins have been very aggressive with their pinch hitting even early in games so far this year. Seattle coming in at 12%. Really interesting there. They are taking on Shohei Ohtani, so they're one of the lowest probability stacks on the slate. But when they do well, it just puts you in a position to make a lot of money. So that's why they're simulating out well. They're not going to succeed all that often, but you make the most money at the top. And when they do succeed, you're knocking off around a 50% owned pitcher in Ohtani. It is also a nice park upgrade for them going to Anaheim. The Dodgers look very good against JP Sears. We don't know exactly what their lineup will look like, but we know that they have a nice mix of value and expensive bats and a lot of power throughout. Sears has allowed north of a 200 expected ISO to righties, so the Dodgers make a lot of sense. Looking at individual exposures, Jameson Taillon at the top. Again, this is one of those pitchers where if this looks different by lock, I'm perfectly fine with that. If it doesn't, I'm also fine with that. He is cheap. Hope for the best. There's nothing else really to say there. Aaron Judge, one of the best one-offs on the slate, getting 34% at only 11% projected ownership. So that's pretty interesting. We're pretty much in line with the field on Urias, taking on the A's. He hasn't been great this year, but we know the A's are extremely bad, and they have the lowest implied run total on the slate. We're getting to 30% Ohtani, which is a bit less than the field. He is clearly the best pitcher on the slate in terms of talent, but he is getting 50% ownership. He does face a team that has power in a good park for hitting. And part of not getting to as much Ohtani means we can get to more Mitch Keller, who has been struggling a bit recently, but only 13 to 14% ownership on a pretty short slate. Then we start getting into the Cubs bats. You're getting to some Clark Schmidt, a little bit over the field. So not going too crazy in terms of individual exposures anywhere. Taillon the most at 36.7%. In terms of getting over the field, Aaron Judge, Taillon, Keller, and then some Cubs bats, Swanson, Bellinger, Suarez against Ohtani, back to Candelario with the Cubs, Torres against Javier. No real problems with any of these bats that we're getting to. As far as where we're not getting, we already talked about Ohtani. We're not getting the Sonny Gray. Wouldn't mind if we did, but we're just getting to more Mitch Keller instead. Carlos Santana, we're not getting to. Nothing too crazy here, though. All these guys, less than 10% negative leverage. So nothing that really stands out as far as guys that we're fading other than Ohtani. And again, to clarify, this certainly can change by lock. This isn't saying Shohei Ohtani is a bad play. It's saying that in the lineups that I put in, Shohei Ohtani isn't showing up in the best simulated lineups as often as the field has him. But that's something that can look very different as you get lineups released, as ownership changes. So, kind of take that for what it's worth. But right now, if the slate started, that's how things are looking for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and a like, depending on where you watched. And other than that, thanks for checking it out, and good luck on tonight's slate.